Maya Brooks never imagined that 3 words muttered on a Monday morning would change everything. When Ethan Ward, a white bookstore owner she'd worked beside for months, let slip, "I don't date black girls," she could have walked away forever. Instead, she looked him dead in the eye and said, "Good, I don't date close-minded guys." What happened next forced them into a week of close collaboration, where apologies meant nothing and actions meant everything. But when his ex-girlfriend started posting photos, when his mother questioned if Maya was worth the attention, and when Ethan froze at the moment she needed him most, Maya had to decide, was his change real, or was she just another lesson he'd forget? If you want to see whether love can survive prejudice, pride, and the painful work of becoming better, then keep watching. And before you go, comment below and tell me what city you're watching from. I love knowing where my viewers are. The morning air tasted like salt and coffee. Maya Brooks balanced a white pastry box against her hip as she walked up the sidewalk toward Harbour and Hearth Books. The little coastal town was just waking up, shopkeepers sweeping their stoops, gulls crying over the pier 2 blocks down, the sun climbing slow and golden above the water. Maya loved mornings like this. Quiet, steady, the kind of peace you could count on. She'd picked up croissants from the bakery on Maple Street, same as she did every Monday. Aunt Lila had sent her with extras. "That bookstore man works too hard," her aunt had said, wrapping the box in brown paper. "Needs someone to remind him to eat." Maya smiled at the memory. Aunt Lila thought everybody needed looking after. The bookstore sat on the corner, its deep green awning shading a row of wooden benches. Through the front window, Maya could see the cafe counter where she worked part-time, the espresso machine gleaming under warm lights. Past that, rows of shelves climbed toward a pressed tin ceiling. The place smelled like old pages and cinnamon, and Maya had loved it from her first shift 3 months ago. She was 10 feet from the door when she heard the voice. "No, I already told you Tuesday delivery, not Wednesday." A man's voice, tight with frustration. "I don't care what the system says." "I need those boxes Tuesday." Maya glanced over. Ethan Ward stood just outside the shop entrance, phone pressed to his ear, free hand raking through his brown hair. He was tall, lean, wearing a faded grey Henley and jeans. His jaw was set, eyes focused on nothing, the way people look when they're trying not to lose their patience. She'd worked with Ethan for months now. He was the owner, 29, quiet, the kind of guy who always said please and thank you, and never raised his voice at customers. He kept the bookstore running smooth, paid on time, left her tips in envelopes with her name written in neat print. But this morning, he looked frazzled. Maya started to step around him, giving him space for his call. That's when she heard it. "I don't date black girls." The words came out low, distracted, like he was talking to himself, muttering under the noise of the phone conversation, barely aware he'd said them out loud. But Maya heard. She stopped. The pastry box suddenly felt heavier. Ethan didn't even look at her. He was still half turned away, listening to whoever was on the other end of the line, his expression distant and annoyed. He hadn't meant to say it to her, hadn't even realized she was standing there, but he'd said it, and now it sat in the air between them, ugly and small. Maya took a slow breath. Her heart kicked once, hard, then settled into something cooler. She'd heard words like that before, sometimes loud, sometimes whispered, sometimes dressed up in excuses. It always hurt. But she'd learned a long time ago that the hurt didn't have to make her small. She shifted the box in her hands and looked at him directly. "Good," she said, her voice calm and clear. "I don't date close-minded guys." Ethan's head snapped toward her. His eyes went wide. The phone slipped an inch from his ear. What?" Maya didn't repeat herself. She just walked past him, pulled open the door, and stepped inside. The bookstore wrapped around her like a hug, warm air, soft music playing from the corner speakers, the familiar scent of paper and brewing coffee. She set the pastry box down on the counter, untied her coat, and hung it on the hook by the espresso machine. Her hands were steady. Her breathing was steady. She heard the door open behind her. "Maya, wait." She turned. Ethan stood just inside the doorway, phone gone, hands open at his sides. His face had gone pale. He stopped. Swallowed. "I'm sorry. I wasn't talking to you. I didn't even realize." "I know," Maya said. She kept her voice even. "Professional. You were on the phone. You were frustrated, and you said what you said. I didn't mean. He took a step closer, then stopped, like he wasn't sure if he should. That came out wrong. I wasn't thinking. You weren't thinking, Maya repeated. She met his eyes. That's the problem, isn't it? You just said it, like it was normal. Ethan flinched. He opened his mouth, closed it. For a long moment, he just stood there, looking lost. Maya felt the tightness in her chest ease just a little. She didn't need him to grovel. She didn't need a big speech. What she needed was for him to understand that words mattered, that people mattered. I come here to work, she said quietly. I make coffee. I help customers. I don't come here to be someone's exception or someone's lesson. So if you've got stuff you need to figure out, that's fine. But don't bring it to me. You're right. His voice was rough. He looked at her like he was seeing her for the first time. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry. She nodded once. Then she turned back to the counter and started unpacking the pastries. Behind her, she heard. Ethan let out a long breath. He didn't leave. He just stood there, and Maya could feel the weight of his regret pressing against the quiet. Then another voice cut through the tension. Morning, boss. Pete Harlan came through the back hallway, carrying a clipboard and a thermos of coffee. He was 33, solid and steady, with a graying beard and the kind of calm that made him perfect for managing a bookstore. He stopped when he saw them both standing there, silent and stiff. His eyebrows lifted. Everything okay? Fine, Maya said quickly. She slid a croissant onto a plate and set it on the counter. Brought breakfast? Pete looked at Ethan. Ethan looked at the floor. Right, Pete said slowly. He set his clipboard down and poured himself a cup of coffee. Well, we've got a problem. Susan, our children's reading hour host, just called. She's got the flu. She's out all week. Maya glanced up. The reading hour was one of the bookstore's most popular events. Every weekday, at 4 o'clock, parents brought their kids in for stories, songs, and snacks. Susan had been running it for 2 years. All week? Ethan's voice sounded strained. We've got a full schedule. We've been advertising it for a month. I know. Pete sipped his coffee, unbothered. We'll need to find someone to cover. Or cancel. We can't cancel. Ethan rubbed his face. Parents are counting on it. The kids. He stopped, looked at Maya. Would you be willing to help? Maya raised an eyebrow. Me? You're good with kids, Ethan said quickly. I've seen you at the counter. They love you. And you've got a great voice, calm, clear. You'd be perfect. She folded her arms. I'm a barista, not a storyteller. We'd pay you, Pete said. Contract rate, extra hours, and we'd only need you through Sunday 1 week. Maya studied them both. Ethan looked desperate. Pete looked practical. She thought about it. She thought about the words Ethan had said on the sidewalk. She thought about how easy it would be to just say no and walk away. But she also thought about the kids, about the parents who'd planned their week around this, about how much she actually liked this bookstore, how it had been a steady, good thing in her life. I'll think about it, she said finally. I'll come back at lunch. We can talk terms then. Ethan's shoulders dropped with relief. Thank you. Seriously. Thank you. I haven't said yes yet. She picked up a dishcloth and started wiping down the espresso machine. Noon. Don't be late. I won't. Pete gave her a small nod. Then he gestured to Ethan. Come on, we've got inventory to check. The two men disappeared into the back. Maya kept wiping the counter, her movements slow and deliberate. She could still feel the sting of what Ethan had said, but she could also feel something else, something like possibility. Maybe he didn't deserve a second chance, or maybe he did. She wasn't sure yet. But she'd find out at noon. The cafe filled up, quickly. By 10 o'clock, Maya had pulled a dozen espresso shots, steamed 3 pitchers of milk, and handed out pastries to half the neighborhood. She smiled at customers, took orders, kept everything moving smooth and easy. But her mind stayed on the sidewalk, on Ethan's face when he'd realized what he'd said, on the way he'd looked at her like he was ashamed. Good, she thought. He should be. At 11:30, Tasha Reed texted her. Lunch soon? I'm starving. Maya smiled. Tasha was her best friend, 27, sharp, and fiercely protective. They'd met in college and had been inseparable ever since. Can't today. Meeting at the bookstore. Tell you later. Meeting? About what? Long story. Call you tonight. Fine. But if that man did something stupid, I'm burning his store down. Maya laughed softly and tucked her phone away. At 5 minutes to noon, Pete came back out front. He set a printed schedule on the counter and tapped it with one finger. Reading week, he said. 4 o'clock, every day through Sunday. We've got 40 kids signed up. Parents love it. If we pull this off, it'll be great for the store. And if we don't? Maya asked. Then we look like we don't care about the community. And people remember that. Maya nodded. She understood. At exactly noon, Ethan appeared. He looked tired. He'd changed into a clean shirt, dark blue, buttons done up neat, and his hair was combed back. He carried a notebook and a pen. Okay, he said. He sat down across from her at one of the cafe tables by the window. Let's talk. Maya folded her hands on the table. Here's what I need. Paid shifts, same rate as Susan. Open door sessions, Pete or another staff member in the room at all times, and no personal stuff. This is work, nothing else. Ethan wrote it all down. Agreed. And I want a clear schedule. I need to know when I'm expected and when I'm off. Done. And if I say stop, we stop. If something doesn't feel right, if a session isn't working, I walk away. No questions. Ethan looked up. His eyes were serious. You have my word. Maya studied him. He didn't look defensive. He didn't make excuses. He just listened. We'll do a trial today, she said. 4 o'clock. If it goes well, I'll finish the week. Thank you. Ethan's voice was quiet. And Maya, I really am sorry for what I said. It was ignorant. It was wrong. And I'm going to do better. She didn't answer right away. She just looked at him, weighing his words. Apologies are easy, she said finally. Behavior is what counts. I know. Pete came back with a printed flyer, simple, clean, with bright letters that said Reading Week and a schedule of times. He set it on the table between them. I'll hang these around town, he said. Parents already know, but it doesn't hurt to remind them. Maya picked up the flyer. The design was cheerful, welcoming. She could already picture kids running in with their backpacks, parents smiling, the whole room filling up with noise and laughter. Maybe this could work. Okay, she said. Let's do it. Ethan let out a breath. Thank you. Really? Pete clapped him on the shoulder. All right. I'll set up the mats. Ethan, you're on snack duty. Maya, you pick the books. We've got 3 hours. The next few hours flew by. Maya walked through the children's section, pulling picture books off the shelves, stories about friendship, adventure, animals, and kindness. She stacked them on a cart and rolled them to the reading corner, a cozy space near the back with soft rugs, floor cushions, and a rocking chair. Pete dragged out the foam mats and arranged them in a half circle. Ethan set up a small folding table with juice boxes, apple slices, and crackers. By 3:30, everything was ready. Maya sat in the rocking chair and looked around. The space felt warm, safe, like the kind of place where kids could be loud and messy and happy. She thought about what Ethan had said on the sidewalk. She thought about how small those words had made her feel. But then she thought about this, the books, the bright rugs, the parents who trusted this place with their children. Maybe she could do this. Maybe it would even be good. At 3:45, the first family arrived. A mom with twin boys, both bouncing on their toes, already asking questions. Then a dad with a little girl in pigtails. Then another mom with a toddler on her hip. By 5 minutes to 4, the reading corner was full. Maya stood. She smiled. Hi, everyone, she said. Her voice was calm and clear, just like Ethan had said. My name's Maya. Let's read some stories. The kids cheered. And just like that, the first session began. Everything was going great. The kids sat cross-legged on the mats, eyes wide, as Maya read about a brave little mouse who went on a big adventure. She changed her voice for each character, high and squeaky for the mouse, low and grumbly for the bear. The kids giggled. The parents smiled from the chairs along the wall. Ethan stood near the snack table, quiet and watchful. He didn't interrupt. He just made sure everything ran smooth, refilling juice boxes, handing out napkins, keeping the space tidy. Then, halfway through the second book, the lights flickered. Maya paused mid-sentence. The kids looked up at the ceiling. The lights flickered again. then went out. For 3 long seconds, the bookstore was dark. A few kids gasped. One started to cry. Then the lights came back on, steady and bright. Maya didn't panic. She just smiled and kept her voice calm. Well, that was exciting, wasn't it? I think the bookstore wanted to add some drama to the story. A few kids laughed. Uncertain, the crying toddler sniffled and quieted. How about we keep going? Maya said. She opened the book again. Where were we? Oh, right, the mouse just found the secret door. Ethan moved quickly. He ducked into the storage closet and came back with extra floor cushions, passing them to the kids who looked nervous. He knelt beside the crying toddler and handed him a stuffed bear from the toy bin. The little boy hugged it tight. By the time Maya finished the story, the room had settled. The kids clapped. The parents looked relieved. All right, Maya said, standing. One more book, and then we'll sing a song. Sound good? Yeah, the kids shouted. Maya picked up the last book, a bright, silly story about a dancing elephant. She read it with energy, bouncing on her toes, waving her arms. The kids laughed so hard they fell over. At the end, Ethan started a simple clapping rhythm. The kids joined in. Then Maya started singing a song about animals, and everyone followed along, stomping their feet and making animal noises. By 5:30, parents were gathering their kids, thanking Maya, telling her how much fun it had been. You're a natural, one mom said, pulling on her son's jacket. Susan's great, but you've got something special. Maya smiled. Thank you. That means a lot. As the last family left, Pete started, folding up the mats. Ethan picked up stray juice boxes and tossed them in the recycling bin. Maya sat down in the rocking chair, suddenly exhausted. But it was a good kind of tired. That was amazing, Ethan said. He came over, hands in his pockets. You were amazing. The kids loved you. It was fun, Maya admitted. She looked up at him. I'll finish the week. Ethan's face broke into a relieved smile. Really? Yeah. But we stick to the rules. Clear schedule, open door, work only. Absolutely. He hesitated. I know I already said it, but I really am sorry. For this morning, I'll prove I can do better. Maya nodded. We'll see. Pete came over with a printed schedule. Tomorrow morning, 8:30, we'll finalize the week. Sound good? I'll be here, Maya said. She stood, grabbed her coat, and headed for the door. Outside, the evening air was cool and soft. The sun was sinking low over the water, painting the sky pink and gold. Maya walked home slowly, letting the day settle around her. She thought about the kids, the stories, the way Ethan had moved through the room, careful and quiet, making sure everyone felt safe. She thought about the words he'd said, and the words she'd said back. I don't date black girls. Good. I don't date close-minded guys. She didn't know if Ethan could really change. Didn't know if he even wanted to. But maybe, just maybe, she'd give him the chance to try. Maya's apartment was small and cozy, tucked above a corner deli 2 blocks from the pier. The living room had a sagging couch, a bookshelf crammed with paperbacks, and a window that looked out over the street. It wasn't much, but it was hers. She dropped her bag by the door and kicked off her shoes. Her feet ached. Her voice felt scratchy from reading out loud for an hour and a half, but she was smiling. She made herself a cup of tea, chamomile, with honey and curled up on the couch. Her phone buzzed. Tasha. Okay. I waited long enough. Spill. Maya laughed. She hit the call button. Tasha picked up on the first ring. Finally. I've been dying over here. What happened? Maya told her everything. The pastries. The sidewalk. The words Ethan had said. Her response. The meeting at noon. The trial reading session. When she finished, there was a long silence on the other end. Maya, Tasha said slowly, please tell me you're not about to let this man off the hook. I'm not letting him off the hook, Maya said. I'm just working with him, for 1 week. That's it, he said what he said. Out loud, in public. I know. And now you're going to help him run his little bookstore event? Like nothing happened? No. Maya's voice was firm. Not like nothing happened. He apologized. He looked me in the eye and said he was wrong. And I'm choosing to give him a chance to prove it. Tasha sighed. You're too nice. You know that? I'm not nice, Maya said. I'm careful. There's a difference. Just don't let him use you as his learning moment, okay? You're not a charity case. You're not here to fix him. I know, Maya stared into her tea, but I'm also not going to walk away from something good just because someone said something stupid. The bookstore is a good job. The reading hour could be fun. And if Ethan wants to do better, that's on him. I'm just going to keep my boundaries clear. Fine, Tasha's voice softened. But if he messes up again, you tell me. And I'll come over there and mess him up. Maya smiled. Deal. They talked for another hour about work, about Tasha's terrible boss, about the new Thai place that had opened downtown. By the time they hung up, it was almost 10 o'clock. Maya checked her phone alarm. 7 a.m. She needed to be up early for her cafe shift before the 8:30 meeting. She set out her apron on the kitchen chair, made sure her keys were by the door, and crawled into bed. Outside, the town settled into quiet. Gulls called over the water. Car engines hummed in the distance. And Maya closed her eyes, thinking about stories and books, and a man who'd said the wrong thing but might be ready to say the right ones. Tomorrow would tell. Tuesday morning came bright and clear. Maya's alarm went off at 7, and she rolled out of bed with the kind of tired that felt earned. She made coffee, pulled on jeans and a sweater, and headed out into the cool morning air. The walk to Harbour and Hearth took 15 minutes. She liked the rhythm of it, the sound of her shoes on the sidewalk, the smell of the ocean mixing with fresh bread from the bakery, the way the sun climbed slow and steady over the rooftops. By the time she pushed through the bookstore's front door, Pete was already there. He stood behind the counter, sorting through a stack of invoices, a mug of coffee steaming beside him. "Morning," he said without looking up. "Ethan's in the back. Should be out in a minute." Maya hung up her coat and tied on her apron. The cafe counter was spotless. Pete always left things clean. She started the espresso machine, checked the milk, and arranged the pastries Aunt Lila had sent with her in a glass case. At 8:30 exactly, Ethan emerged from the back hallway. He looked more put together today, clean shave, pressed shirt, eyes less tired. He carried a yellow legal pad covered in notes. "Morning," he said. He set the pad on the counter. "Ready to plan the week?" "Ready," Maya said. Pete joined them, and the three of them huddled around a small table near the window. Ethan flipped open the legal pad. "Okay," he said. "Here's what we've got. Monday, yesterday was the trial. Went great. Tuesday through Friday, we do the same thing. 4 o'clock, 90 minutes, stories and songs. Saturday is a craft hour, coloring, stickers, simple stuff. Sunday is the family matinee longer session. More kids, maybe a guest reader if we can find one." Pete tapped the schedule with his pen. "I'll handle crowd control. Make sure parents stay in the room. Keep the aisles clear. All that. Ethan, you're on snacks and setup. Maya leads the stories." Maya scanned the list. It was clear, simple, doable. "Sounds good," she said. "But I want to pick the books each day. No surprises." "Fair," Ethan said. He made a note. "Anything else?" Maya thought for a moment. "If something goes wrong, if a kid gets hurt, if a parent complains, whatever, I want to be part of the conversation. I'm not just the voice in the chair. I need to know what's happening." Ethan nodded. "Agreed. We're a team. All three of us." Pete stood and grabbed the coffee pot. "All right. I'll print the final schedule and hang the flyers around town. Ethan, you've got a vendor call at 9. Maya, you're good to work the cafe until 3:30, then switch over to reading prep." "Got it," Maya said. As Pete walked away, Ethan lingered. He shifted his weight, like he wanted to say something but wasn't sure how. Maya raised an eyebrow. "Something on your mind?" "Yeah." He glanced down at his notes. "I just thank you for giving me a chance. I know I didn't deserve it." Maya crossed her arms. "You're right. You didn't." He flinched. "But," she continued, "I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for the kids and for me. I like this job. I like this place. So let's just keep it professional and see how the week goes." "Professional," Ethan repeated. "Got it." He started to turn away, then paused. "For what it's worth, I really am trying. To do better. To be better." Maya studied him. His eyes were earnest, uncomfortable, like he wasn't used to being called out and didn't quite know how to sit with it. "Then prove it," she said quietly. Not with words, with actions. I will. He walked away, disappearing into the back office. Maya watched him go, then turned her attention to the espresso machine. She had lattes to make and customers to serve. No time to worry about whether Ethan Ward was serious or not. Time would tell. The morning passed in a blur of coffee orders and small talk. A retired teacher came in for her usual cappuccino. A college student camped out at a corner table with textbooks and highlighters. A mom with a baby in a stroller ordered a decaf latte and a muffin, bouncing the stroller gently with one foot while she waited. At 10:15, the front door chimed, and Maya looked up to see Aunt Leila. Her aunt was 52, with dark brown skin, silver streaks in her hair, and a smile that could light up a whole room. She wore a purple cardigan and carried a canvas tote bag stuffed with groceries. "There's my girl," Aunt Leila said, setting the bag on the counter. "How'd it go yesterday?" Maya smiled. "Good, really good. The kids loved it." "Of course they did. You're a natural." Aunt Leila leaned in, lowering her voice. "And that bookstore man? He treating you right?" Maya hesitated. She'd told her aunt about the reading week but hadn't mentioned the sidewalk incident. Aunt Leila had raised her since she was 16, after her parents died in a car accident. She was protective, fierce, and she didn't tolerate disrespect. "He's fine," Maya said carefully. "Professional," Aunt Leila's eyes narrowed. If he steps out of line, you tell me. I'll come down here and set him straight." "I know you will," Maya laughed. "But I'm okay, really." Aunt Leila studied her for a long moment, then nodded. "All right, but I'm keeping an eye on things." Just then, Ethan appeared from the back. He saw Aunt Leila and stopped, straightening his shoulders like a kid called to the principal's office. "Miss Brooks," he said politely. "Good to see you." Aunt Leila looked him up and down. "Mr. Ward." The air between them was heavy. Polite, but heavy. I wanted to thank you for the pastries," Ethan said. "They've been a hit with the customers." "Good." Aunt Leila's tone was neutral. "Maya tells me you're doing a reading week." "Yes, ma'am." "She's been incredible. The kids love her." Aunt Leila nodded slowly. "She's good at what she does. You're lucky to have her." "I know." There was a pause. Then Aunt Leila picked up her tote bag. "Well, I've got errands to run. Maya, I'll see you for dinner Thursday." "I'll be there," Maya said. Aunt Leila gave Ethan one last look, steady, measuring, and walked out. The door chimed shut behind her. Ethan let out a long breath. "She's intense. She raised me," Maya said, wiping down the counter. "And she doesn't suffer fools. So if you're planning to mess up, don't do it where she can see." Ethan's mouth twitched. "Noted." He turned to leave, then paused. "There's a vendor issue. We were supposed to get hot cocoa mix delivered this morning, but they sent the wrong kind. I'm going to run to the corner grocer and pick some up. I'll be back in 20 minutes. "Okay." He grabbed his jacket and headed out. Maya watched him go, then shook her head. The man was trying. She'd give him that. But trying wasn't the same as succeeding. At 3:55, the bookstore began to fill, again. Parents arrived with their kids, some carrying backpacks, some clutching favorite stuffed animals. The reading corner came alive with chatter and laughter. Maya sat in the rocking chair, a stack of books beside her. She'd chosen carefully a story about a girl who built a rocket ship, another about a boy who made friends with a whale, and a silly one about a dog who thought he was a cat. Pete stood near the door, greeting families, making sure everyone signed in. Ethan hovered near the snack table, setting out cups of the hot cocoa he'd picked up earlier. At exactly 4 o'clock, Maya clapped her hands twice. "All right, friends," she said, smiling. "Let's get started." The kids scrambled to sit on the mats. The parents settled into chairs along the wall. Maya opened the first book. This session was even better than yesterday's. The kids were engaged, asking questions, shouting out answers. When Maya read the story about the girl and the rocket ship, one little boy raised his hand and said, "My dad's an engineer. He builds things too." "That's amazing," Maya said. "Maybe one day you'll build a rocket ship." The boy beamed. Halfway through the second story, Maya noticed the music playing softly in the background was too loud. She glanced at Ethan and gestured toward the speakers. He understood immediately. He walked over, turned down the volume, and gave her a quick thumbs up. Maya smiled and kept reading. Near the end of the session, a toddler named Noah, maybe 3 years old, with curly blonde hair and overalls, got excited and knocked over a stack of plastic cups on the snack table. They clattered to the floor, loud and sudden. A few kids gasped. Noah's face crumpled, and he started to cry. Ethan moved fast. He knelt beside Noah, his voice low and calm. "Hey, buddy, it's okay. Accidents happen." He picked up the cups one by one, stacking them neatly. Noah sniffled and watched, his tears slowing. "Want to help me?" Ethan asked, holding out a cup. Noah nodded. He took the cup and set it on the table carefully. "Nice job," Ethan said. He ruffled Noah's hair gently. "You're a good helper," Noah smiled. The whole thing took maybe 30 seconds. Quiet, kind, no big deal. But Maya noticed. She finished the last story, and the kids clapped. Then they sang a song about animals stomping like elephants, hopping like kangaroos, slithering like snakes. The parents laughed. The kids giggled. By 5:25, everyone was packing up. Parents thanked Maya again, telling her how much their kids had enjoyed it. One mom leaned in close. "You're really good with them. My daughter hasn't stopped talking about you since yesterday." Maya's chest warmed. "Thank you. That means a lot." As the last family left, Aunt Lila appeared in the doorway. She'd been standing outside, watching through the window. She walked over to Maya, her expression thoughtful. "That was good," Aunt Lila said quietly. "Really good. Thanks, Auntie." Aunt Lila glanced over at Ethan, who was wiping down the snack table with a dishcloth. She watched him for a moment, then turned back to Maya. "He's trying," she said. "I'll give him that." Maya nodded. "Yeah, he is." Aunt Lila squeezed her hand. "Just be careful, baby. People can try all they want, but consistency is what matters." "I know." Aunt Lila kissed her forehead and left. Maya stood in the quiet bookstore, the reading corner slowly returning to normal. Pete folded the mats. Ethan stacked the chairs. And Maya felt something shift inside her, just a little. Maybe Ethan was serious. Maybe he really did want to change. She wasn't sure yet, but she was watching. That evening, Maya texted Tasha as she walked home. "Maya, day 2 went well. No drama, just books and kids." Tasha, "Good. How's the guy?" Maya, "Professional, respectful." "We'll see." Tasha, "Still don't trust him, but I trust you. So if you say it's okay, I'll back off. For now." Maya, "Thanks, T." Maya smiled and tucked her phone away. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. The air smelled like salt and summer, even though it was barely spring. She passed the pier, where a few people sat on benches, watching the waves. She thought about the way Ethan had knelt beside Noah, the way he'd turned down the music without being asked, the way he'd stepped back and let her lead, not trying to take over or prove anything. Small things, quiet things, but they mattered. When she got home, she made herself dinner, leftover chicken and rice, simple and warm. She ate on the couch, a book in her lap, her feet tucked under a blanket. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text from an unknown number. Unknown. "Hi, Maya. It's Ethan. Pete gave me your number, hope that's okay. Just wanted to say thanks again for today. You made it look easy. Have a good night." Maya stared at the message. She thought about ignoring it, thought about setting a boundary and keeping things strictly professional. But then she thought about Noah's smile, about the kids clapping, about the way Ethan had looked at her after the session, grateful but not entitled. She typed back, "Maya, it's fine. Glad it went well. See you tomorrow." Short, polite, professional. Ethan replied immediately. "Ethan, see you tomorrow." Maya set her phone down and picked up her book. Outside, the town settled into its quiet evening rhythm, and for the first time since Monday morning, Maya felt something close to peace. Wednesday morning started the same way: coffee, sunshine, the walk to the bookstore. Maya arrived at 7:30, early enough to have the cafe to herself for a while. She made herself a latte and sat by the window, watching the town wake up. The grocer across the street opened his shutters. A jogger passed by with a dog. A delivery truck rumbled down the street. At 8:30, Pete arrived with a box of flyers. He spread them out on the counter, showing Maya the final design. "These are going up all over town," he he said. Library, community center, coffee shops. We're going to have a packed house by the weekend. Good, Maya said. She liked the way the flyers looked bright, cheerful, welcoming. Ethan came in at 9. He looked tired again, like he hadn't slept well. But he smiled when he saw Maya. Morning, he said. Ready for another day? Always. They went over the schedule one more time. Everything was set. 4 o'clock story time, same routine, same books. At 9:55, a group of older women walked in. They were the Harbour Bells, a book club that met at the store every Wednesday morning. Pete had told Maya about them. They'd been coming for years. The women settled into the corner near the fiction shelves, pulling out notebooks and coffee thermoses. One of them, a woman with silver hair and bright red glasses, waved at Maya. You must be the new storyteller, she said, smiling. We've heard wonderful things. Maya walked over. Thank you. I'm Maya. I'm Dorothy. This is Ruth, Helen, and Frankie. The other women smiled and waved. We love what you're doing with the Children's Hour. It's been wonderful. Thank you, Maya said. I'm glad the kids are enjoying it. Oh, they are, Ruth said. She was small and round, with kind eyes. My grandson came on Monday. He hasn't stopped talking about the mouse story. Maya's chest warmed. That's so good to hear. Ethan appeared beside her, holding a tray of fresh coffee. He set it down on the table. Ladies, good morning. Can I get you anything else? Just this handsome face, Frankie said with a wink. She was the youngest of the group, maybe 60, with a sharp sense of humor. Ethan laughed. You're too kind. Dorothy leaned forward, adjusting her glasses. Ethan, we wanted to say it's lovely what you're doing this week. The reading hour has brought so much life to this place. Ethan glanced at Maya. It's all Maya. She's the one making it special. The women smiled at her. Maya felt a rush of warmth, not from the compliment, but from the way Ethan had said it. Genuine, no ego. Well, Dorothy said, we're grateful. This bookstore is the heart of this town. And you two are doing a wonderful job keeping it beating. Maya nodded. Thank you. As she walked back to the counter, she felt lighter. The Harbour Bells were good people, the kind who noticed the small things and appreciated them. At 11:30, the front door chimed again. Maya looked up and her stomach tightened. A woman walked in. She was maybe 28, with sleek dark hair, designer jeans, and a confident stride. She looked around the store like she owned it. Pete, who was shelving books nearby, glanced over. His expression shifted just slightly, guarded. The woman walked straight to the counter. She looked at Maya, then at Ethan, who had just emerged from the back. Ethan, she said, her voice smooth and cool. It's been a while. Ethan stopped. His face went carefully blank. Jenna, he said, what are you doing? Here? Jenna smiled. I heard you were doing something new. Thought I'd check it out. She glanced at Maya again, her eyes sweeping over her in a way that felt deliberate, assessing. Maya kept her expression neutral, but inside, her guard went up. This woman wasn't here for books. She was here for something else entirely. Jenna Cole leaned against the counter, her fingers drumming lightly on the wood. She looked at Ethan like they shared a secret, like she had every right to be there. So, she said, tilting her head. New rules? Ethan's jaw tightened. What do you mean? Jenna's smile widened. I mean, you're running a kids program now. That's new. And I see you've got help. She glanced at Maya again. The look wasn't rude. Exactly. But it wasn't friendly either. Maya folded her arms. She didn't say anything. She just watched. Ethan took a slow breath. Jenna, if you're here to shop, great. If not, I've got work to do. Relax, Jenna said, laughing lightly. I'm just saying, hi. Can't a girl say hi to her ex? Maya's eyebrows lifted slightly. Ex. So that's what this was. Pete appeared beside Ethan, his presence quiet but solid. Jenna, he said evenly. Good to see you, but we've got a busy day. Maybe another time? Jenna's smile faltered. She looked at Pete, then at Ethan, then at Maya. Sure, she said. Another time. She turned and walked toward the door. But before she left, she pulled out her phone and glanced back at the reading corner, at the mats, at the chairs, and she took a picture. Quick, casual, like it was nothing. Then she walked out. The door chimed shut. Ethan closed his eyes and let out a long breath. I'm sorry about that. Who is she? Maya asked. My ex-girlfriend. We broke up 6 months ago. He trailed off, searching for the right word. Complicated. Pete crossed his arms. She's trouble. And she just took a picture. Ethan frowned. What? Of the reading corner, Pete said, before she left. Saw it on her phone. Screen. Ethan's face darkened. Why would she? Maya's phone buzzed. She pulled it out and saw a text from Tasha. Tasha. Girl. Check Instagram. Someone just posted about the bookstore. Maya's stomach dropped. She opened Instagram and searched for the bookstore's tag. There it was, a photo of the reading corner, the mats, the books, and in the background, slightly blurred but visible, Maya and Ethan standing side by side. The caption read, Guess who's playing house at Harbour and Hearth? New program, new faces, same old Ethan. Number, small town drama. Maya stared at the screen. Ethan leaned over her shoulder and saw it. His face went pale. He stopped, shook his head. That's not okay. Maya's chest felt tight. She looked at him. You need to handle this. I will. Ethan's voice was firm. He pulled out his phone and started typing. I'm texting her right now. She needs to take it down. And if she doesn't? Maya asked. Ethan met her eyes. Then I'll report it. And I'll make sure everyone knows it wasn't okay. Maya studied him. His expression was serious, determined. Good, she said quietly. Because this isn't just about you. It's about me too. I know. Ethan's voice softened. I'm sorry, Maya. I'll fix this. Pete clapped him on the shoulder. Come on. Let's deal with it in the office. Maya, you good out here? I'm fine, Maya said. She was lying, but she wasn't going to fall apart in the middle of the bookstore. Ethan and Pete disappeared into the back. Maya stood at the counter, her phone still in her hand, staring at the post. She thought about Monday morning, about the words Ethan had said on the sidewalk. And now this. She didn't know if it was Ethan's fault, but it was his ex, his mess, and Maya was caught in the middle of it. She took a slow breath, steadied herself. Then she went back to work, because that's what she did. She kept moving, she kept her head up, and she waited to see if Ethan would keep his word. The afternoon stretched long and tense. Maya worked the cafe counter, pulling espresso shots, steaming milk, smiling at customers. But her mind kept drifting back to that Instagram post, to Jenna's smirk, to the way the caption had turned something good into gossip. Same old Ethan. What did that mean? And why did it feel like a warning? At 2 o'clock, her phone buzzed. Tasha. Tasha. That post is getting likes. People are commenting. You okay? Maya. I'm fine. Ethan's handling it. Tasha. You sure about that? Maya didn't answer. She wasn't sure about anything. At 3:30, Pete came out from the back. He looked tired. He walked over to the counter and poured himself a cup of coffee. Ethan's been on the phone with Instagram support for the last hour, Pete said quietly. He reported the post, sent screenshots, asked them to take it down. And? Maya asked. They said they'd review it, but it could take 24 hours, maybe more. Maya nodded slowly. What about Jenna? He texted her, asked her to take it down herself. She said no. Maya's jaw tightened. Of course she did. Pete leaned against the counter. Look, I don't want to overstep, but Jenna's always been like this. When things ended with Ethan, she didn't take it well. She's been looking for a way to stir things up ever since. Why? Maya asked. What does she get out of it? Attention? Control? I don't know. Pete shrugged. Some people just like to watch things burn. Maya stared at her hands. This isn't fair. I didn't ask for this. I know. Pete's voice was kind. And Ethan knows it too. He's trying to fix it. For what it's worth, he blocked her on everything. Phone, social media, email, all of it. Maya looked up. He did? Yeah. He said he should have done it months ago. That he was trying to keep things civil. But civil doesn't work with someone like Jenna. Maya absorbed that. It was something. Not enough to erase the damage, but something. Okay, she said. Thanks for telling me. Pete nodded. You still good for the reading hour? We've got 15 minutes. Maya took a breath. Yeah, I'm good. She wasn't, but she would be. because those kids didn't deserve her stress. They deserved stories and songs and smiles, so that's what she'd give them. At 4 o'clock, the bookstore filled again. More families today, parents who'd heard from neighbors, kids who'd begged to come back. The reading corner was standing room only. Maya sat in the rocking chair and looked out at the sea of small faces. She felt the weight of the day pressing on her shoulders, but when she opened the first book, her voice came out steady and clear. Once upon a time, she began, there was a little girl who loved the rain. The kids leaned in. Their eyes went wide. The parents smiled. And for 90 minutes, Maya let herself disappear into the stories. She forgot about Jenna, forgot about the Instagram post, forgot about everything except the kids in front of her and the magic of the words on the page. Ethan was there, but he stayed in the background. He kept the snacks organized, refilled juice boxes, handed out napkins. He didn't interrupt, didn't try to be the center of attention. He just supported. Near the end of the session, Maya started a sing-along. A busker named Kay, a woman in her 40s with a guitar and kind eyes, had wandered in and asked if she could play. Maya said yes, and Kay strummed soft chords while the kids sang about sunshine and friendship. The parents clapped. The kids cheered. It was perfect. As the family started to leave, one mom stopped by Maya's chair. "You're incredible," she said. "My daughter has been talking about you non-stop. She wants to be a storyteller when she grows up." Maya's chest tightened with emotion. "That's the best thing anyone's ever said to me." The mom squeezed her hand. "Thank you. Really." By 5:35, the bookstore was quiet again. Pete folded the mats. Kay packed up her guitar and waved goodbye. Ethan wiped down the snack table, his movements slow and careful. Maya sat in the rocking chair, exhausted but lighter than she'd felt all day. Ethan walked over. He hesitated, then sat down on one of the floor cushions nearby. "That was amazing," he said quietly. "You were amazing. Thanks. I'm sorry about earlier. About Jenna. About the post." He looked at her directly. "I should have seen it coming. I should have handled her better months ago." Maya studied him. His face was open. "Regretful." "You blocked her?" she asked. "Yeah, completely. She can't reach me anymore." He rubbed the back of his neck. "I was trying to be mature, you know, trying to keep things friendly. But that was stupid. She doesn't want friendly. She wants drama, and I'm done giving it to her." Maya nodded slowly. "Good." I also forwarded everything to Instagram's report channel. I explained the situation. I asked them to prioritize it. "I don't know if it'll help, but I tried." "Okay." They sat in silence for a moment. The bookstore felt warm and safe, the kind of quiet that settles after something loud. "Maya," Ethan said, his voice softer now, "I know this is a lot. I know you signed up for a week of reading stories, not for whatever this is. If you want to walk away, I'll understand. No hard feelings." Maya looked at him. She thought about leaving, thought about how easy it would be to just say no and go home and forget about all of this. But then she thought about the kids, about the mom who said her daughter wanted to be a storyteller, about Kay's guitar and the way the parents had clapped. "I'm not walking away," she said, "but I need you to understand something. I'm not here to be part of your drama. I'm not here to fix your mistakes. I'm here because I like the work. And if that changes, if this gets messy or uncomfortable or unsafe, I'm out. No discussion." "Fair," Ethan said immediately. "More than fair." Maya stood. "I'm going home. I'll see you tomorrow." "Wait." Ethan stood too. "I know you've had a rough day. How about tea? There's a table by the door. Public. Lights on. Just to talk. About the week. About how to make sure nothing like this happens again." Maya raised an eyebrow. "Tea? Yeah. I've got chamomile. And I think Pete hid some cookies in the back." Maya almost smiled. "This isn't a date. I know. It's just tea." She thought about it. She was tired. She wanted to go home, but she also wanted answers, wanted to understand what she was dealing with. "Okay," she said. "Tea, but just for a little while." "Deal." They sat at a small table by the front window, the bookstore doors propped open, the evening light spilling across the floor. Ethan made 2 cups of chamomile tea and brought out a plate of shortbread cookies. Maya wrapped her hands around the warm mug and stared out at the street. "So," Ethan said, sitting down across from her, "what do you want to know?" "About Jenna?" Maya asked. "About anything." Maya took a sip of tea. It was good, sweet, with a hint of honey. "How long were you together?" 2 years. We met at a bookstore conference. She worked in marketing. We clicked right away. But after a while, things got complicated. Complicated how? Ethan hesitated. She wanted more than I could give, more attention, more control. She didn't like it when I spent time with friends or worked late. She wanted to know where I was all the time, who I was with. It felt suffocating. Maya nodded. She'd seen relationships like that before. Tasha had been in one once, and it had taken her months to get out. "So you broke up?" Maya said. "Yeah, 6 months ago. I thought we ended things okay, but then she started showing up at the store, asking questions, texting me about random stuff. I tried to be polite, but—" He shook his head. "I should have set boundaries sooner. Why didn't you?" Ethan looked down at his tea. "Because I felt guilty. I thought maybe I'd hurt her. Maybe I owed her something. But I realize now that I was just making it worse. She didn't want closure. She wanted me to keep her in my life. Maya absorbed that. And today was her trying to mess things up. To remind me she still has power. To make me feel small," he looked at Maya, "and to drag you into it, which is the worst part." Maya set down her mug. "I need you to be honest with me. Is this going to keep happening? Is she going to keep showing up, taking pictures, stirring things up?" "No," Ethan said firmly. "I won't let it. I've blocked her completely. I've told Pete to call me if she shows up when I'm not here. And if she keeps harassing us, I'll get a formal no-contact order." Maya's eyebrows lifted. "You'd do that?" "Yeah, because this isn't just about me anymore. It's about you, about the kids, about this place. And I'm not letting her ruin it." Maya studied him. His voice was steady. His eyes were serious. "Okay," she said. "But if she shows up again, I want to know." "No secrets." "No secrets," Ethan agreed. They sat in silence for a moment, the bookstore settling around them like a soft blanket. "Can I ask you something?" Ethan said. "Sure. Why did you agree to do this? The reading week, after what I said on Monday. You could have just walked away." Maya thought about it. She traced the rim of her mug with one finger. "Because walking away is easy," she said finally, "and I'm tired of doing the easy thing. I'm tired of letting other people's ignorance make me small. You said something stupid. You apologized, and now I'm watching to see if you mean it." Ethan nodded slowly. "And what do you see so far?" Maya looked at him, really looked at him. She saw the tired lines around his eyes, the way he held his shoulders like he was carrying something heavy, the way he'd stepped back during the reading hour, letting her lead, not trying to steal the spotlight. "I see someone who's trying," she said. "But trying isn't enough. Consistency is what matters. Words are cheap. It's the actions that count." "I know," Ethan said, "and I'm going to prove it, day by day, however long it takes." Maya picked up a cookie and took a bite. It was buttery and sweet, the kind of thing Aunt Lila would have approved of. "Tell me about you," Ethan said. "I've been talking about my mess. What about you?" Maya hesitated. She wasn't used to sharing, wasn't used to letting people in. But something about the quiet of the bookstore, the warmth of the tea, the way Ethan looked at her open, patient, made her want to try. "I grew up here," she said. "My parents died when I was 16. Car accident. Aunt Lila took me in, raised me. She's the reason I'm still standing." Ethan's face softened. "I'm sorry. That must have been hard." "It was, but Lila's strong. She taught me to be strong too, to not let people walk over me, to know my worth." "She sounds amazing." "She is," Maya smiled. "She's also terrifying when she wants to be. So if you mess up, she'll know." Ethan laughed softly. "I believe it." Maya took another sip of tea. "I went to college for a year, studied English, but I couldn't afford to finish, so I came back and started working. Cafe jobs, mostly. I like the rhythm of it, the small conversations, the way you can make someone's day better with a good cup of coffee. You're good at it." Ethan said. "You're good at a lot of things." Maya shrugged. "I do my best." They talked for another hour, about books they loved, about the town. about small dreams and big fears. The conversation flowed easy, like water over stones, and Maya found herself relaxing in a way she hadn't expected. At 8:20, the sky outside had turned deep purple. Maya stood and gathered her mug. "I should go," she said. "Yeah, me too." Ethan stood and walked her to the door. "Thanks for staying, for talking. It helped." Maya nodded. "Just don't make me regret it." "I won't." She stepped out onto the sidewalk, the cool evening air wrapping around her. Ethan stood in the doorway, hands in his pockets, watching her. "Good night, Maya," he said. "Good night." She walked home slowly, her mind full of tea and cookies and quiet conversations. When she got to her apartment, she texted Tasha. "Maya, long day, but okay. He's trying." Tasha, "Trying isn't good enough." Maya, "I know, but it's a start." She set her phone down and curled up on the couch. Outside, the town hummed with its evening rhythms, car engines, distant laughter, the soft cry of gulls over the water, and Maya closed her eyes, thinking about tomorrow, thinking about whether Ethan Ward could really change, thinking about whether she wanted to believe him. Thursday morning came quiet and grey. A light drizzle tapped against Maya's window as she got ready for work. She pulled on jeans and a hoodie, grabbed her umbrella, and headed out into the misty streets. The walk to Harbour and Hearth felt longer today. Her legs were heavy. Her mind was still tangled up in yesterday's mess, the Instagram post, Jenna's smirk, the weight of Ethan's apology. When she pushed through the bookstore door, Pete was already there. He looked up from the counter and gave her a small smile. "Morning," he said. "Coffee's fresh." "Thanks." Maya hung up her coat and poured herself a cup. The warmth spread through her hands, steadying her. At 8:30, Ethan arrived. He looked better today, cleaner, sharper, like he'd slept a little. He carried a folder under his arm. "Morning," he said. He set the folder on the counter. "I've got an update." Maya raised an eyebrow. "On the post?" "Yeah, Instagram took it down. Early this morning. They said it violated their harassment policy." Maya felt a rush of relief. "Really? Really?" Ethan pulled out his phone and showed her the email. "They also sent a warning to Jenna's account. If she posts anything else like that, they'll suspend her." Pete nodded. "Good. That's what she gets." Maya looked at Ethan. "Did you tell her you reported it?" "No, I didn't reach out at all. I just let the platform handle it." He slipped his phone back into his pocket. "She can't contact me anymore, and if she tries to come into the store again, Pete's going to handle it. I won't engage." "Good," Maya said. She meant it. Ethan opened the folder. Inside was a printed schedule and a list of weekend supplies, craft materials, extra snacks, a backup sound system in case the speakers failed. "I want this week to go smoothly," he said. "No more surprises, no more drama, just good work." Maya scanned the list. Everything looked organized, thorough. "Okay," she said. "Let's do it." Pete clapped his hands once. "All right, let's prep for today's session. Ethan, you're on setup. Maya, you pick the books. I'll handle the front." They worked together for the next few hours. The bookstore filled with customers, students looking for textbooks, retirees browsing mysteries, a mom searching for a birthday gift. Maya made lattes and rang up purchases, her rhythm steady and familiar. At noon, Ethan came out from the back, with a brown paper bag. "I grabbed lunch from the deli," he said, setting the bag on the counter. "Sandwiches. I got you turkey and avocado. Hope that's okay." Maya blinked. "You didn't have to do that." "I know, but you've been working hard. Figured you could use a break." She opened the bag. Inside was a sandwich wrapped in wax paper, a bag of chips, and a bottle of iced tea, her favorite kind, peach. "How'd you know I like peach tea?" she asked. Ethan shrugged. "You always order it at the cafe." I noticed. Something warm flickered in Maya's chest. Small gestures. Quiet attention. "Thank you," she said. "You're welcome." They ate together at the window table, not saying much, just sharing the space. The rain had stopped, and the sun was trying to break through the clouds. At 1 o'clock, the door chimed. A man walked in, older, maybe 70, with white hair and glasses. He carried a cane and moved slowly, but his eyes were bright. "Mr. Alvarez," Pete called from the shelves. "Good to see you," the man smiled. "Hello, Pete. I'm looking for that large print mystery you ordered for me. The one about the detective in Paris. It's in the back. Pete said. Let me grab it. Maya stood and walked over. Hi, Mr. Alvarez. I'm Maya. Can I get you some coffee while you wait? That would be lovely, dear. Thank you. She made him a cup black, no sugar, the way Pete had told her he liked it. She brought it to him at a corner chair, and he thanked her with a gentle smile. You're new here, he said. Sort of. I've been working the cafe for a few months. But this week I'm helping with the children's reading hour. Ah, yes, I've heard about that. My neighbor brings her grandson. He loves it. Maya smiled. That's good to hear. Mr. Alvarez sipped his coffee. You remind me of my late wife. She had your kindness, your patience. Maya's throat tightened. Thank you. That's a really beautiful thing to say. Pete returned with the book, and Mr. Alvarez paid and left, waving goodbye. Ethan appeared beside Maya. You're good with people. So are you. Maya said. When you're not being an idiot. Ethan laughed, a real laugh, warm and surprised. Fair. The afternoon passed quickly. At 3:55, the families started arriving. The reading corner filled up, louder and more energetic than before. Maya sat in the rocking chair and opened the first book. But before she started, she looked around the room at the kids, at the parents, at Pete standing by the door, at Ethan arranging snacks. This was good. This was right. And for the first time all week, Maya felt like maybe, just maybe, she was exactly where she was supposed to be. The reading session was joyful. The kids laughed. The parents clapped. Maya's voice carried through the room, steady and sure. After the stories, they did a craft simple paper crowns decorated with crayons and stickers. The kids wore them proudly, parading around the bookstore like royalty. During cleanup, Maya and Ethan worked side by side, picking up scraps of paper and stray crayons. Their hands brushed once, reaching for the same marker. They both froze, then smiled. Sorry, Ethan said. It's fine. They kept working, but the air between them felt different, softer, like something had shifted. At 5:30, as the last family left, Pete locked the front door and turned to them. Tomorrow's the last weekday session, he said. Then we've got the weekend events. Saturday's craft hour, Sunday's family matinee. You two ready? Ready, Maya said. Ethan nodded. Let's finish strong. Pete grinned. That's what I like to hear. As Maya gathered her things, Ethan walked over. Hey, he said. I know it's been a long week, but would you want to do something tomorrow? After the session? Just take a walk or something. Get some air. Maya looked at him. A walk? Yeah, the pier, public, daylight, no pressure. Maya thought about it. She thought about the tea they'd shared, the sandwiches, the way he'd noticed she liked peach iced tea. Okay, she said, but just a walk. Just a walk, Ethan agreed. Maya smiled. See you tomorrow. She walked home through the cool evening, her heart feeling lighter than it had in days. When she got to her apartment, she texted Tasha. Maya, he asked me to take a walk tomorrow. I said yes. Tasha, Maya, what are you doing? Maya, I don't know, but I'm doing it anyway. Tasha, be careful, please. Maya, I will, promise. She set her phone down and looked out the window. The town glittered in the dusk, lights coming on one by one, the ocean humming in the distance. And Maya let herself hope. Just a little. Friday came with clear skies and a fresh breeze off the ocean. Maya woke early, feeling something she hadn't felt in a long time: anticipation. Not nervousness, not dread. Just a quiet kind of curiosity about what the day might bring. She showered, pulled on a yellow sundress and a denim jacket, and walked to the bookstore with her hair loose around her shoulders. The morning felt new, open. When she arrived at Harbour and Hearth, Pete was unloading a box of books at the front counter. Well, look at you, he said with a knowing smile. Someone's in a good mood. Maya rolled her eyes. It's just a nice day. Pete didn't push it. He just handed her a clipboard. Mr. Alvarez's order came in early. His large print thriller. Can you set it aside for him? Sure. Maya took the book from the box, a thick paperback with bold letters. She placed it on the hold shelf with Mr. Alvarez's name on a sticky note. At 9 o'clock, Ethan walked in carrying 2 paper bags. Morning, he said, setting them on the counter. I stopped by the bakery, got muffins, and he pulled out a bottle. Peach iced tea. Maya looked at the bottle, then at him. You're really leaning into this, aren't you? Is it working? She tried not to smile. Maybe. They ate breakfast together at the window table, blueberry muffins that crumbled just right, the tea cold and sweet. Ethan told her about a book shipment that had gotten lost somewhere in Ohio. Maya told him about Aunt Lila's plan to reorganize her entire kitchen this weekend. It was easy, natural, like they'd been doing this for years. At 10:15, the door chimed, and Mr. Alvarez walked in. Maya greeted him with a warm smile. Your book came in early, she said, retrieving it from the hold shelf. The Paris Detective. Mr. Alvarez's face lit up. Wonderful. You're an angel, my dear. He paid, tucked the book under his arm, and paused before leaving. I'll be at the Sunday matinee, he said. My neighbor's bringing her grandson, and I thought I'd tag along. Heard you're quite the storyteller. Maya's chest warmed. I'd love that. I'll save you a chair up front. You're too kind. He tipped an imaginary hat and left. Ethan watched from the counter, his expression soft. You're really good at this. At what? Making people feel seen, like they matter. Maya looked down, suddenly shy. Everyone matters. They just need someone to remind them. Ethan nodded slowly. Yeah, they do. The day moved smoothly. Customers came and went. The cafe hummed with quiet chatter. At 3:30, Maya started prepping for the last weekday reading session. She chose her books carefully, a story about a kid who built a treehouse, one about a girl who learned to swim, and a silly one about a penguin who wanted to fly. She stacked them on the cart and wheeled them to the reading corner. Pete set up the mats. Ethan arranged the snacks. By 4 o'clock, the bookstore was packed again. Maya sat in the rocking chair, looked out at the eager faces, and smiled. Hi, friends, she said. Ready for some stories? The kids cheered. She read with all the energy she had, changing her voice, making big gestures, pulling the kids into the world of each book. They laughed. They gasped. They shouted out answers to her questions. It was perfect. After the last story, Kay, the busker appeared again with her guitar. She strummed a gentle tune, and the kids sang along a song about sunshine and friendship and being brave. Parents wiped their eyes. A few clapped along. By 5:30, the bookstore was settling again. Families filtered out, thanking Maya, telling her how much their kids had loved the week. One dad stopped on his way out. You've got a gift, he said. Our son hasn't sat still for a story in months. But with you, he was glued. Maya's throat tightened. Thank you. That means everything. As the door closed behind the last family, Pete started folding the mats. Ethan wiped down the snack table. And Maya sat in the rocking chair, letting the quiet wash over her. You ready for that walk? Ethan asked, coming over. Maya looked up. Yeah, let me grab my jacket. They left the bookstore together, stepping out into the early evening. The sun hung low and golden over the water, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. They walked toward the Place, pier, side by side, not saying much. The town was alive around them, people walking dogs, couples holding hands, kids on bikes weaving through the streets. When they reached the pier, Ethan led her to a bench near the end, where the ocean stretched out wide and endless. He pulled a small paper bag from his jacket pocket. I brought a picnic, nothing fancy. Just sandwiches and chips, Maya laughed. You really planned this? Yeah, I did. He handed her a sandwich, turkey and avocado again, her favorite. They ate in comfortable silence, watching the waves roll in, the gulls circling overhead. This week has been good, Ethan said quietly. Really good. And it's because of you. Maya took a sip of water. It's been good for me too. Ethan turned to face her. His eyes were serious. Open. I know I messed up. On Monday. And I know words don't fix that. But I want you to know I'm working on it. I'm reading. I'm listening. I'm trying to understand why I said what I said and how to be better. Maya studied him. What have you learned? Ethan thought for a moment. That bias isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It's the stuff you don't even realize you're thinking until it comes out. And it's my responsibility to deal with that. Not yours. Not anyone else's. Mine. Maya nodded slowly. That's a good start. I don't want to be the guy who says the wrong thing and expects people to just forgive him. Ethan continued. I want to be the guy who does the work, who shows up, who proves it, day after day. Then do that, Maya said simply. Don't tell me you're going to change. Just change. I will. His voice was steady. Sure. They sat in silence for a while, the ocean humming beneath them. Then Ethan shifted closer, just slightly. Can I ask you something? He said. Sure. What made you give me a chance? After Monday, you could have just walked away. But you didn't. Maya looked out at the water. Because I'm tired of letting fear run my life. I'm tired of assuming the worst about people before they even get a chance to show me who they are. You said something hurtful, but you also apologized, and then you backed it up with action. That's more than most people do. Ethan's expression softened. You're really something, you know that? Maya smiled. So, I've been told. They sat there as the sun dipped lower, the sky turning deep purple. The air cooled, and Maya pulled her jacket tighter. Ethan reached over, hesitated, then gently took her hand. Maya looked down at their joined hands. His was warm, steady. She didn't pull away. This is okay? Ethan asked quietly. Yeah, Maya said. This is okay. They stayed like that, hands intertwined, watching the sky change colors. And for the first time in a long time, Maya felt like maybe, just maybe, she could let herself hope for something good. At 7:20, the sky had turned almost black, stars beginning to prick through the darkness. Maya and Ethan stood from the bench and walked back toward the bookstore. When they reached the corner, Ethan stopped. I had a really good time tonight, he said. Me too. Can we do this again? Keep it slow, keep it real, no pressure. Maya looked at him. His face was open, honest. No games, no pretense. Slow, she said, and respectful, and transparent. I don't do secrets. I don't do games. Neither do I, Ethan said. Not anymore, Maya smiled. Okay, then yeah. Let's see where this goes. Ethan smiled back, relieved, happy, hopeful. They stood there for a moment, neither quite ready to leave. Then Ethan leaned in, slow and careful, giving her time to pull back if she wanted. Maya didn't pull back. Their lips met soft, tentative, warm. It lasted only a few seconds, but it felt like the world paused. When they pulled apart, Maya's heart was racing. But it wasn't fear. It was something else, something better. Good night, Maya, Ethan said softly. Good night. She turned and walked toward her apartment, her feet light, her heart full. When she got home, she texted Tasha immediately. Maya, he kissed me. Tasha, what? Details. Now. Maya, it was good, really good. I think I like him. Tasha, I swear to God, Maya, if he hurts you, Maya, he won't. I think he's the real deal. Tasha, I hope you're right, but I'm still watching him. Maya, I know. And I love you for it. She set her phone down and sat by the window, looking out at the town. The lights twinkled, the ocean hummed, and Maya let herself feel it, all of it. The hope, the nervousness, the possibility that maybe, just maybe, this could be something real. Saturday morning came with a sense of purpose. The craft hour was scheduled for 2 o'clock, and Maya wanted everything to be perfect. She arrived at the bookstore early and found Ethan already there, setting up tables in the reading corner. Supplies were laid out: construction paper, markers, glue sticks, stickers, glitter. You're early, Maya said, hanging up her jacket. Couldn't sleep, Ethan grinned. Too excited. Pete walked in carrying a box of juice pouches. All right, team. Let's make this the best craft hour this town has ever seen. They worked together for hours, arranging chairs, organizing supplies, printing name tags. At 1:30, families started arriving early, kids buzzing with energy. By 2 o'clock, the room was full. Maya stood at the front and clapped her hands. Hi, everyone. Today we're going to make something special, friendship bracelets. You can give them to someone you love, or keep them for yourself. The kids dove in, their small hands tangling string and beads. Parents helped tie knots. Laughter filled the room. Ethan moved through the crowd, handing out extra supplies, helping a boy who couldn't get his knot right, kneeling beside a shy girl and encouraging her. Maya watched him, saw the way he moved with patience and care, saw the way the kids gravitated toward him. At 3:30, the craft hour ended. Kids held up their bracelets proudly, showing them off to parents. One little girl ran up to Maya and handed her a bracelet bright pink with yellow beads. "This is for you," the girl said, "because you're nice." Maya's eyes stung with tears. She knelt down and tied the bracelet around her wrist. "Thank you. I love it." The girl beamed and ran back to her mom. As the families left, Pete started cleaning up. Ethan came over to Maya, his own wrist now sporting a blue and green bracelet a boy had given him. "Looks good on you," Maya said, smiling. "Yeah?" Ethan held up his wrist. "I'm never taking it off." Maya laughed. "Hey," Ethan said, his voice dropping to something more serious. "I've got dinner with my mom tonight, at 6:30, at that little Italian place on Main." Maya's stomach tightened. "Your mom?" "Yeah. She's been asking to meet for weeks. I keep putting it off, but—" he hesitated. "I'd really like you to come, if you want." Maya's heart started to race. "Ethan, I don't know if that's a good idea." "Why not?" "Because meeting parents is a big deal, and we just started, whatever this is." "I know," Ethan said, "but I don't want to hide you. I don't want to keep things separate. I want her to meet you, to see why you're important to me." Maya looked at him. His face was open, sincere, but she also felt the weight of what he was asking. Meeting his mother meant something. It meant stepping into his world. It meant being seen. "Okay," she said finally. "I'll come, but if it gets weird, I'm leaving." "Deal," Ethan smiled. "Thank you." Maya nodded, her mind already racing. What would she wear? What would she say? What if his mother didn't like her? She pushed the thoughts aside and focused on the present, one step at a time. At 6:25, Maya stood outside the Italian restaurant, smoothing her dress for the third time. She'd changed 4 times before settling on a simple navy dress and flats. Professional. Polite, not trying too hard. Ethan appeared beside her, dressed in a button-down and slacks. He looked nervous. "You ready?" he asked. "No," Maya said honestly, "but let's do it anyway." They walked inside. The restaurant was small and warm, with checkered tablecloths and soft lighting. A woman sat at a corner table, looking at her phone. Claire Ward was 55, with short brown hair, sharp eyes, and an expression that Maya couldn't quite read. "Mom," Ethan said, approaching the table. "This is Maya." "Maya, this is my mom, Claire." Claire stood and extended her hand. "Maya, it's nice to meet you." "You too," Maya said, shaking her hand. Claire's grip was firm. Assessing, they sat down. A waiter brought menus and water. The conversation started polite small talk about the weather, the bookstore, the reading week. But Maya could feel Claire watching her, measuring her. "So," Claire said, setting down her menu. "Ethan tells me you've been wonderful with the children's program." "I've enjoyed it," Maya said. "The kids are great. And you work at the cafe, normally?" "Yes, part-time. I've been there a few months." Claire nodded. "And before that?" Maya kept her voice steady. "I've worked a few different jobs. Cafe work, mostly. I studied English in college for a year, but I couldn't finish." "Why not?" Maya felt the weight of the question. "Money. My parents passed away when I was 16. My aunt raised me, but we didn't have much." Claire's expression softened, just slightly. "I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you." The waiter returned to take their orders. Maya chose pasta. Ethan ordered chicken. Claire asked for a salad. As the waiter left, Claire turned to Ethan. "So, this is new? You two?" Ethan glanced at Maya, then back at his mother. "Yeah, it's new. But it's good." Claire sipped her water. "Ethan, you know how people talk in this town. And with everything going on at the bookstore this week, the program, the attention people are watching." Maya's stomach tightened. Ethan's face went carefully neutral. "So? So I just want to make sure you're thinking this through," Claire said. Her tone was calm, but there was an edge to it. "You've worked hard to build that business, and sometimes attention can be complicated." Maya felt the words land like stones. Attention, that was code. She knew it. Ethan opened his mouth, but before he could speak, Maya set down her fork. "Mrs. Ward," she said quietly, "if you're worried about how it looks for your son to be with me, you can just say it." Claire blinked. "I didn't mean—" "Yes, You did. Maya's voice was calm but firm. And I get it. People talk. They always do. But I'm not here to be a problem. I'm here because Ethan asked me to come. And if that makes you uncomfortable, I can leave. The table went silent. Ethan stared at his mother, his jaw tight. Claire looked at Maya, her expression unreadable. Then she sighed. You're right. I'm sorry. That was unfair. Maya didn't respond. She just waited. I'm protective of Ethan, Claire continued. Sometimes too much, but I can see he cares about you, and that matters. Ethan still hadn't said anything. His hands were clenched on the table. Maya looked at him, waited for him to speak, to defend her, to say something. But he didn't. He just sat there, silent. Maya's heart sank. She stood. Excuse me. I need to use the restroom. She walked away, her hands shaking, her chest tight. In the bathroom, she stood at the sink and stared at her reflection. She'd known this could happen, but she'd hoped, really hoped, that Ethan would show up for her, and he hadn't. After a few minutes, she composed herself and walked back to the table. Her plate was still there, untouched. Ethan and Claire were talking quietly, their voices low. Maya sat down. I think I'm going to head out. Ethan looked at her, his face stricken. Maya, it's fine, she said. She pulled out her wallet and placed cash on the table for her meal. Thank you for inviting me, Mrs. Ward. It was nice to meet you. Maya, wait. Ethan started to stand. I'll see you tomorrow, Maya said. Her voice was calm, steady, for the matinee. Then she turned and walked out. Outside, the cool night air hit her like a wave. She walked quickly, her vision blurring with tears she refused to let fall. Behind her, she heard footsteps. Maya, please. She stopped, turned. Ethan stood a few feet away, his face pale. I'm sorry, he said. I should have said something. I should have... Yeah, Maya said. You should have. I froze. I didn't know what to say. And by the time I figured it out, you were already gone, Maya finished. Because I wasn't going to sit there and let your mother question whether I'm worth the attention. Ethan flinched. She didn't mean it like that. Yes, she did. And you know it. Maya's voice cracked. I don't need you to fight all my battles, Ethan. But I need you to show up, to stand beside me. And tonight, you didn't. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. I know, and I'm so sorry. Maya took a shaky breath. I need to go home. Okay. Ethan's voice was barely a whisper. I'll do better, I promise. Maya didn't answer. She just turned and walked away. When she got home, she collapsed on the couch and let herself cry. Not loud, dramatic sobs, just quiet tears that came from a deep, tired place. Her phone buzzed. Ethan, I handled that poorly. I'm sorry. I'll show you better. I promise. Maya stared at the message. Then she set her phone down and closed her eyes. Tomorrow was the family matinee, the end of the week, and after that, she'd decide whether Ethan Ward was worth believing in, or whether she needed to walk away for good.